All right. Looks like we are live. That means we are back. Happy New Year. Do you still say Happy New Year this deep into the new year, or is it like just for the first couple days?
I think so. As long as it's the first time you're saying it to someone or seeing them for the new year, I think it's still apropos, right? So I'm going to
Okay.
go with
All
Happy
right.
New Year.
All right. All right. Happy New Year, everybody. We are back with another episode of our snobist show. This is the show specifically for Patreon supporters. We spend the first 30 minutes or so talking about just stuff in general, maybe some topics, maybe not. And then we jump right into the regular show that airs on Friday for our regular listeners who aren't necessarily, well, not necessarily, they aren't
Patreon
paying
supporters.
for the extra content that we are doing right now. So, with all of that being said, Nika, how was your holiday?
My holiday was good. Before I get into that, I have to say that I am the reason why we are recording super late today. I fully adulted today. Um, Starting at 6 a.m. I was up and at 'em. I was out with the quote unquote regular people during rush hour traffic. It's giving pre-pandemic 2017, 2018 vibes, and I am tired because
Mm.
I am not built for that life anymore. So I have to put that out there first. But holiday was great. Got to go home, spend time with family and loved ones and all that good stuff. I have to say that um for the most part, for me, a lot of the Christmas buying this year was for the kids, not necessarily the adults, because I'm at the point now where people have everything. And like I told my family last Christmas, I was like, so hey, don't buy me anything. What you would use to buy me something, buy something for yourself. Because a lot of times people don't necessarily take out the time to buy the things that they want for themselves during the holiday times. They're in the giving and shopping mood. So it's like, buy things for yourself. All that to say, I think I mentioned before, my nephew Aiden told me his shopping list, which was quite strange. And he wanted some kind of cable, and it turned out to be some sort of power cord for his hoverboard. So instead of doing that, I just bought him a new hoverboard. Turns out that didn't work. So had to return that to get
The
a
whole
new one.
entire hoverboard?
The whole entire hoverboard.
Is it the ones where they put the feet like this and it turns around in circles, or is the
Mm-hmm. Yep.
one that people be using like to travel, like on that one wheel thing?
No, it's the one where they put the 2 feet on and they kind of
Hmm.
tilt forward or whatever. So he had an older one. He
Hmm.
couldn't find the cable for it. And so
Hmm.
that's why he asked me for a cable. I didn't know what
Hmm.
the cable was for at the time, and he asked me for a glue gun. So I got the glue gun, and apparently, I'm of old school. I remember glue guns that had like the cord attached to it. Now have cordless glue guns. I don't know what he's using this for, but I was like, hey, I'll get it. And so when I was talking to his grandmother, she was like, yeah, she was like, honestly, instead of buying the cord, she was like, if you're going to get him something, just get him a new hoverboard and he could use that charger to charge his old one and his new one. And I say all that to say is I ordered a new one and it didn't work. So we had to return that to Amazon. And the other thing is, like a week before Christmas, he sends me this link for this hoodie because you have young kids, you have kids, around his age, and the children, Gen Zers, I think he's technically Gen Alpha, um, they wear hoodies 24/7,
Hmm.
whether it's 100 degrees or whether it's 10 degrees. And so apparently there's this line called Fear God that is apparently a
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And so I told him, I was like, so, hey, I can order this, but it's not going to get here for Christmas. Do you want it? Or I was like, I sent him a couple of screenshots from because they carry them in Nordstrom. And I was like, hey, they got this in Nordstrom. And he was like, well, I really like the other one better. And so I ordered it. It got here on this past weekend. He happened to be in Atlanta visiting his dad for the weekend. And so I met up with him before he went back to our hometown where he lives. And his grandmother, my aunt, she texted me, she's like, he has the hoodie on now. And I was like, I thought the whole point was to, because it's apparently a status symbol. I didn't realize that. I'm like, okay. But I was like, I thought the whole point was for him to have it to wear back to school. And she's like, no, he's wearing it now, just around the house. And I was like, you know what? Sure. Okay. I don't care. But kind of all that to say is these kids are strange. And
Um, I don't know. I think people look at people in general, not necessarily
mhm,
you, not necessarily me. I think what people do is when they grow up, so when
mhm,
they're 10, 11, 12, teenagers, late teens, early 20s, whatever was popping that moment in time,
mhm,
shoes, hair, especially in music, sports athletes,
mhm,
you tend to carry that as that is what is supposed to be forever.
mhm,
So with the music that I grew up on, these kids, I say, have you ever heard of? They're like, who? What? And we get upset. We
mhm.
visibly get upset because how can you
Not
not
no.
know or not like or never heard of or never went to or never attended, the things that we like now because we grew up with them back then,
Mhm,
right? So I don't think it's a fair assessment to say because not necessarily what you're saying, but just in general all
mhm,
these kids today with their X, Y, and Z and their A, B, and C,
mhm.
they got the this and that. That's what the kids are into.
Yeah.
Because when I was a kid, I was into some stuff, and my parents said, "You weirdos with your Nintendos, and
Your
oh,
CDs, what do you
right,
need a
right,
CD?
and your little soda bottles in your stuck between your tires. So when you ride your bike, it makes all this
The
noise.
noise,
We thought that was the
making all
coolest
that
thing.
racket.
We thought we was doing the coolest thing, and here come
Yep,
the adults saying, "Y'all don't know nothing about no this and that, and this ain't music." When we was growing up, and we was
yeah,
listening to some ridiculous stuff too,
yeah.
we wasn't trying to hear some old fogey come and say, well, I don't know how y'all listen to this. So all they talking about is this and that and the third. And here we
Mhm.
go. Grown up, turn around
It's
and
our
do it,
turn.
do it and repeat the cycle. So, now
Yeah,
having
and it's
said
and it's
that,
uh
having said that, there are some ridiculous things that these kids do, but you have to
it's
chalk it up to that's what kids do.
yep.
Ridiculous things. That don't make it
They're
no
figuring
worse,
it
no
out.
better. Yep. They don't make it no worse, no better. They're treading their own path. They like what they like. They watch what they watch. They wear what they wear. They listen to whatever they listen to. And as ridiculous as it sounds to me, I have to say, look, when I was growing up, I was listening to
Same
some
thing.
ridiculous stuff too. And it wasn't just because I was in that era that was the best era. They do even with sports athletes.
Yeah,
Mike, LeBron James, oh, he ain't no Michael Jordan. I'm like, when did he say
he
I'm
was.
going to be the next Michael Jordan? But LeBron, Kobe, Kevin
Steph,
Durant, all
yeah,
these new kids today can't hold a candle to our athletes,
yeah,
Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. The maybe then those Magic Johnson, Larry Bird were kind of our prior generation. We're
mhm.
thinking like Michael Jordan, Allen Iverson, some of those names, Shaquille O'Neal,
Vince
some of those.
Carter, yep.
Right, right, right. We will argue these young kids up and down if they
Now,
mention anything about how their era is the best era or whatever the case. Here, you can see it on TV right now.
yeah,
TNT, you got Shaq,
on the
Kenny,
sports shows, yep.
all they do is
Chuck,
shoot threes. All they
yeah.
do is shoot threes. I'm like, that's what they do now. They shoot threes. Back
It's
in the
all
day,
about the entertainment
all they
factor.
did was dunk. Back in
Yep.
the day, all they did was pass. Back in the day, all they did was shoot like hooks. So it's like it's more of the same, to be
Yeah.
honest. But
But I will say, fashion wise, it's cyclical because now, talking to Aiden and his little buddies, True Religion is back in the
oh,
picture.
is it?
It's True Religion is back. They
Mm-hmm.
are down for the True Religion jeans. Starter jackets, they're back with the starter
Mm-hmm.
jackets. Champion. When
Mm-hmm.
I was growing up, Champion was basically the knockoff of
Mm-hmm.
Nike. If you had Champion, that mean that you were kind of like second tier. You weren't
Mm-hmm.
first tier with the Nike, but now Champion is like top tier. The Carhartt, top
Mm-hmm.
tier. I was in Saks. They had Carhartt sweatshirts in
Mm-hmm.
Saks Fifth Avenue. So that kind of gives you an idea of how all of the stuff kind of comes back. So all of it to
Mm-hmm.
say it's cyclical, and what we were wearing in high school is it's now back because they are all about it. And the funny thing is, it's like it's brand new. It's like you've never heard of this before, or you don't know about this, and it's like, no babe, no sweets,
Well,
been there.
um, I can I can't think of any styles that we copped from our parents. Maybe hairstyles. But that should be a I guess that should be a compliment
It should be.
that,
We had taste.
okay. uh so anything else? Did you what
um I,
did you do
I
anything?
for New Year's, I was in my home in my pajamas. I got new pajamas. They were cute. I've partied and lived enough New Year's Eve parties for a lifetime. I have stories for days. So, and the funny thing is, all of my friends did the same thing because it was like, hey, what are you doing? And it's like, we're staying in the house because I don't know how it is in other cities, but here in Atlanta, it could really go either way. It could be the most epic night or it could be the worst night because it just really, you just never know what is going on outside. And again, I've been there, I've done that. I know it's a little bit different for you because it's your actual birthday, so you have like double reasons to celebrate, but I kept it low key, I kept it chill. I think I talked about it before. I bought a bunch of stuff for Black Friday. So for me, going into the new year was making sure my house was clean, making sure all of my laundry was done, making sure that all the things that I bought for Black Friday were put up and installed. That's probably another story for another day. I think I mentioned before, I bought the Hisense TV.
Mhm.
I bought the TV stand, and basically the TV stand, it was long enough, it wasn't deep enough, so I ended up having to have the thought process of, do I just buy a new TV stand, do I get it mounted on the wall? I decided to get it mounted, but that was a whole thing of, who do I get to mount it? I don't know what kind of mount you need. It was truly um the TV situation, the Black Friday buy situation, getting everything put where it needed to be. It was traumatic, to say the least. But I am on the other side of that. Everything is done and in place, but it was um my brother came to help me, get things situated, and it was just it was like a comedy of errors.
Blind
If
leading the
you
blind.
Blind leading the blind, and I found this guy on Thumbtack to come and get everything installed. I messaged him like late that night. I messaged a couple people that next day. He was here and installing it, and my brother and I put the TV stand together. I had to write a scathing review in my best Karen voice because the product itself, I bought it for the aesthetic, and I didn't really look at the reviews. I probably should have, because putting the instructions were horrible. It was just bad. And so this lets you know how bad it is. The stickers on the different pieces that
Mhm.
you kind of use with the instructions that you're
Mhm.
supposed to peel off, they're still on the TV stand now, because I wasn't sure if I was going to keep it or if I was going to have
Mhm.
to take it apart. But fortunately,
Mhm.
the guy who mounted my TV, and I got like a 75-inch, so it's a pretty big TV.
Mhm.
He's a certified IKEA builder, and the things that me and my brother couldn't fix or figure out because the doors wouldn't close all the way, they weren't even. And when I went to like survey everything after he got the TV mounted, I was like, oh my gosh, you fixed the TV stand. And he was like, yeah, I had to do X, Y, and Z. And I was like, oh, okay, I was just going to send it back and get something else. And I was like, thank you. But again, it was a comedy of errors. What is the saying? It's not martial law. It's some sort of law where everything that can
Newtons.
go, Newton's, everything
Mhm.
that can go wrong will go wrong. That was my life 2 days before the new year. And I didn't get everything finished until after the new year. And I'm taking that as a lesson to me, to be like, hey, you have ideas of how things should work and how things should go, and that's not how it always works. So sometimes you just got to be flexible and adapt and just be like, you know what, I'm just going to roll with it. We're all on this big floating rock, and you know, hey, it's fine. It is what it is. But all that to say is everything is finally played musical chairs with
Set up.
TVs. Yeah, everything set up. And thank God, because it was, again, traumatic. So that was my holiday. Overall, it was great. I got to spend time with family. I got things put the way I wanted them to be put. Um, took a couple detours, but for the most part, honestly, just truly grateful for the life I get to live. The way that this first week of the year that we've had, with the different tragedies, with all of the upheaval, it's just one of those things where it's just like, you know what? In the grand scheme of things, I live a really good life. And I'm just going to be grateful for that. And, you know, just be grateful and thankful, that I get to live this life that I get to live, and just take things as they come and deal with them, as they come. But for the most part, just super grateful.
All right. All right. Um, didn't do too much over the holidays. Probably the highlight of Christmas was getting my daughter a car. We got her a car, got her a little, actually a bigger car than what we had planned on. We was
Hmm.
planning on a small car, like a
Hmm.
Corolla.
Hmm.
But we were back and forth. It was
Hmm.
really self-inflicting. Well, wasn't self-inflicting me. um, I have to handhold my wife when it comes to making decisions. Rightfully so, because she is the overly cautious one, and
Hmm.
I am the, for lack of a better term, I'm the fuck it dude, right?
Let's do it.
Right. So I have to temper myself and make sure that, the questions that she has, the concerns that she has, if I can't answer them, then the deal salesman or the
Hmm.
mechanic or whomever can answer those questions, right? Only then, after those questions are answered, then we can move on. Versus
Hmm.
me, I'm more of a, well, we'll just figure it out, right?
Hmm.
Whatever decision we make, we've never made a bad decision. Number one, I can't think of it. So, well, there were some investments that we were like, maybe not, but it wasn't like
In the grand
so,
scheme.
and it wasn't so demonstrative that it upheaved our whole life or anything like that,
Right. Right.
But outside of that, we've never, my standpoint is, we'll never make a bad decision. We are cautious enough and we do enough research to where, you know, if there are questions that are unanswered, figure it out. No,
Hmm.
that's not the way everybody works, and I have to
Hmm.
understand that. So I have to kind of handhold and make sure that all the questions are, and I get it. It's a car, and it's a car for our child,
It's a
which
big
will
purchase.
then,
Yeah.
it's a big purchase, and it's a car, and cars can cost you thousands of dollars. And
Mhm.
and three, it's for our child, which
Mhm.
we don't want her out in the streets and nothing Rudy Poot or something gonna fall
Yeah.
apart or whatever the case may be. So there's some
Reliable.
extra, right. So there's some extra things going in there. So all around the world to say we were thinking about Toyotas and Hondas because based on the research, those are the best,
Most reliable.
reliable, last forever. They don't cost thousands of dollars when they break. So
Mhm.
we went that. So that's the route we was going. So, but in going through our checklist, once we find a car that we're interested in, does it have this? Does it have that? Does it need this? Does it need that? Sold.
Mhm.
So we went through that a couple of times to where it's like 3 cars that we were trying to go at. Back and forth, back and forth. We need it. We need a pre-purchase inspection. We need this. We need that. We need this. By that time, car sold.
Mhm.
So the car we landed on wasn't the car we were looking at. We went to that dealership for a different car.
Mhm.
Dealerships can do amazing things with pictures. So by the time we get to the dealership, look at the car, this ain't at all what was presented in the pictures. Then we're kind of like, this is like the
Like a bait and
Thursday.
switch type of thing?
No, it's just you if you can take good pictures, you can take good pictures. And
Mhm.
those good pictures, women with the angles, you can do it at the right angle with the right sunlight, you can,
Yeah. It looks
pull out the
great.
best. Right.
Yeah.
So that was like we were starting to get bummed out, and we were starting to come to the idea that this may not be a Christmas present. It may just be a surprise. We're gonna
Here's a
get you a
car.
car. We're gonna know a surprise. We're gonna get you a car. Give us some time, and
You
then
just don't
come
have it
with
today.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah, come with us and kind of help pick out the car. But that ain't
Mm.
Christmas. Is like surprise. Here's the whole
Yeah.
thing. Not surprise. Here's the beginning of the thing. Right.
Right.
But we were kind of coming to the conclusion that this may not be a Christmas present.
Mhm.
So while we're on the dealership looking at the car, we walked past another one. And again, it wasn't the car that we did all the research for, looked up, whatever the case may be. But maybe because we were at that point to where, all right, no car is going to be perfect. Um, all the cars in our price range, in the age range, with the mileage, they're all going to have some issues.
Mhm.
So we're going to have to be okay with that. So I
Mhm.
think once we kind of came to that conclusion, we landed on this other car, which is a Mazda. It wasn't a
Mhm.
Toyota, not a Honda, and it's bigger. The entry level small cars are tiny ones. This
Mhm.
was like the regular sedan
Like a
size. So
midsize?
like a mid-size, So I was concerned. It's like, all right, it may be too much of a car. She's a first-time driver. I'd much rather have this little cutesy little 16, 17-year-old
A
car, right?
small car.
I had in my mind a car that I pictured my kid in,
Mhm.
and but coming to the conclusion, and we also had a broker looking for us. I
Yeah,
paid
I
like a
remember you talking about that.
Right. We also had a broker looking at cars, and it was the same deal. He was sending me pictures of car. We got to jump on this. I'd be like, all right, let me talk to my wife. And then I go talk to my wife. All right, this looks good. And I would look at all the pictures. I would see something. I'm like, what's this? What's that? Because he was going to purchase from an auction. It may
Mhm.
be in Atlanta, it may be in Florida, it may be in Texas, right? So
Mhm.
all we had to go on was whatever the auction said the status of the car was, whatever the pictures were. This is like sight unseen. Now I
Mhm.
would buy sight unseen for the car that I want because it's going to cost a little bit more. It's going to be a
Mhm.
little bit newer, but it ain't gonna be brand new. It's more
Mhm.
of the cars that I want kind of like are the
Like the
pinnacle of
certified pre-owned type
not
of
not even that.
situation?
Just like cars that a lot of dudes my age go
Mm.
after, right?
Mm.
So those cars are going to be taken care of a little bit more versus just a entry level car that somebody bought because that's all they can afford. They
Mhm.
may not take care of it in a
They probably
shape
dogged
or
it out.
right. So all that to say, a lot of the cars that we were seeing in auction were those kind of dogged out cars. They had been
Mhm.
in accidents. A lot of them from Florida had the hail damage and all these things. So he would put up a car and say, "What about this one?" I would look at it, or let me go talk to my wife, and then we do all this back and forth, and he'd be like, oh, it's sold. You know, so much so that it was becoming a task for
Mm,
him. So much so that now we're getting into, is he getting his money's worth?
mm,
So at the, it was maybe a week before Christmas. He was like, hey man, and I can read the room. I'm a good
yeah.
person of reading the room. He was like, hey man, it sounds like, you guys are looking for cars too on the end. Sounds like you have a particular car in mind with a particular style and a particular condition or whatever. I'll be honest, some of the cars that you're looking for come through here, maybe a dime a dozen. And if they do come through here, you can't waste any time. You got to buy it
Pull the
right
trigger.
then and
Yep.
there. You got to pull the trigger. So, maybe this may not be the ideal process for you. Maybe I'm not the right guy. So I read the room. I was like, all right, he's done with us.
He's like, I'm
So
over it.
he's so done with us. So I'm like, all right, cool. Go ahead, send me the deposit back and we go on our merry way. So
Mm,
then it ratcheted up for us. Now, not only do we have to find the car totally on our own, we got this small window because
yeah.
again, we're trying to make a Christmas present out of this thing. So add all that up to, we roll up on this Mazda. It's got the same type of imperfections and the same type of little nitpicky things that some of the other cars had. But it's kind of like, look, we're at this point. All the cars we've seen prior to this one have the
Hmm.
same issues. They're not perfect on the outside. There's something wrong here. There's something wrong there. This, that, and the other. But overall, we can afford it. It's reliable, it's got the right miles. We had the pre-purchase inspection. I had to call a guy. He came out, ran, did his little thing, everything checked
Hmm.
out. He was like, all right, let's just go ahead and do it. So we went ahead
And
and
most
got it.
importantly, a 16-year-old
Mhm.
old girl, she's gonna be happy to get a car.
She's gonna be happy to get a car. I'm looking at the car. I'm a perfectionist when it
Right.
comes to cars. So every time I look at the car, I gotta fix that. I gotta fix that. I gotta fix this. But overall,
Mm,
it's a damn good car for a
right.
17-year-old, their first car. My first
Yeah.
car was a piece of shit. It was a piece of shit. My second car, I had to put together. I actually bought the car. The whole front end was damaged. So little bit by little bit, every time I get a little, it's in college. So
Mm,
every little piece of money, like $100 here, $200 there, whatever the case may be, I would give it to the auto dude and say, all right, here's a little bit more money, fix more of the car. So
mhm.
and then I was impatient because I needed a car so bad because I was in college
Right.
that he wasn't all the way done. I was like, I just need the car, give it. So like maybe part of a semester, no front end. This is in college. This is in my late teens, early 20s, right? So, I didn't get hold of a good car until maybe mid late 20s, when that car finally died, then maybe I got a hold of a decent car. But all that to say, for a
Right.
17-year-old, the car she got,
It's
it's a good
nice.
looking car. And I have to be okay with that. Now, there were some
Yeah.
things I had to fix on it. The seat, when she did the driver's side automatic seat, it made
Mhm.
this loud screeching banshee noise when she did the little thing. So before we bought the car, did a quick YouTube search, figure out how to do it.
Mhm.
It seems like a quick fix. So I was able to use that to get them, the salesman or the
To
auto,
drop the price.
to drop the price. So, that was so I looked at her cars. All right, this is going to be my little project car. So, any little paint chips, I'm going to go
Mhm.
on YouTube, figure out how to, blend those chips in.
Mhm.
I'm going to even invest in one of those buffer waxer things to where you
Mm.
can buff out a lot of the surface level
Imperfections.
scratches.
Yeah.
Some stuff is deep. You may have to there's like, they make little pins to where
The
you
little
can,
filler.
yeah, right, right. So I plan on doing that and then buffing it all down and getting a nice even look. So I say that to say I made a mention of that. So this is the answer to your everybody has everything. No, they
Mm,
don't, right? So I'm telling my family, oh yeah, there's some perfections. I'm just going to invest. I've always wanted to do it. This will be a perfect time to do it. I want to get one of
mm,
those professional buffers, get the whole kit, and learn
mhm,
how to on YouTube learn how to buff out imperfections in cars. Lo and behold,
mhm,
birthday rolls around. My wife and my family get me the buffer thing, and they get me the kit. So now,
mhm.
once it gets warm, I'm going to try and learn how to buff out scratches and stuff on her car, on my car,
Mhm.
and on my wife's new car. She got a new car for her birthday,
Mhm.
and that has some
Minor
swirls in the
imperfections.
paint.
Yeah.
Swirls in the paint. It's got a scratch here, a scratch there. So it's like, all right. So, I was definitely excited when they bought me the buffer and the kit. So
Mhm.
I'm definitely gonna put that to work. So that's that.
I have
Um
to say, your wife sent me the pictures,
mhm,
and it's a great looking car. You guys did a
mhm.
really good job.
Right, right. And it was
I'm sure
affordable
she's
too.
super excited.
Yep, 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 yep. So now she's in the process of trying to get it. They've got a parking lottery thing at her school. So she before we got her the car, she had signed up for the lottery thing, and we were
Mhm.
trying to convince her keep the parking pass because
Mhm.
one, every once in a while you'll drive my car to school,
Mhm.
so you can use the parking pass for that, and you never know,
Yeah.
right? So we're trying to get.
Without
She's like,
telling her what her gift was. Like,
right, right, right.
yeah.
Just hold on to it. Trust us. You'll just
Yeah.
hold on to it. At the very least, let's just say you never get a car, right? Trying to throw her off the path.
Right.
Let's just say you never get a car. Be entrepreneurial and sell the parking pass to your little friends
Rent it
and let
out.
them park, right, rent it out. So we're not really wanting her to do it, but just giving her ideas
Uh-huh.
to get her off the idea that
She
we
needs
may be getting you a car. So hold on to the parking pass, right?
right.
Um, so that was that. Again, I actually fixed the seat for $20. And I was able to
Nice. Not a
negotiate
bad
like
return.
right. I was able to negotiate like $200 off for that specific thing. I'm like, do you hear this? Do the little thing. It's all loud. So I did a little video before and after.
Mhm.
And then a couple other things like, again, the paint imperfections in the car, and maybe some little dents that they've got kits on Amazon to learn how to pull dents. So I'm like, all right, bet. I'm going to be a dent pulling buff, imperfection
Scratches.
buffing, right? Dude, car dude. Now, this is my life now. I'm a car dude, right? So, and then the radio, the sun must have melted part of
Mhm.
the head unit, so I got to replace that. But other than that, it's a perfectly good car, perfectly fine car for my daughter. The only other, not the only other things, some of the other highlights was I bought myself, and I've been nonstop using it. I bought myself it's like a pair of joysticks that you can
Okay.
attach onto the end of your phone to make it like a little handheld gaming device. Think of like a Nintendo DS, think of like a Nintendo Switch, but smaller,
Interesting.
right? So I bought that because I play games on my phone, but you got to touch the screen. I'm a joystick person.
Mhm.
I'm a console. I need to use a joystick. So I was like, I've been seeing reviews about this thing. Wasn't for sure I was going to get my money's worth because it was like $100 for this thing that
Mhm.
attaches to my phone. And it's like, do I really play games like that? I sold my Xbox for this reason. It's like I
Mhm.
only played one game. Kids are getting older. I got these podcasts going. I don't have time to be sitting down in my basement for hours on end
Mhm.
on my Xbox. So that's why I sold the Xbox. So fast forward to this, it's called a backbone. Fast forward to this
Mhm.
backbone thing. I'm like, I really don't play games that much. Am I really gonna get my money's worth? I
Mhm.
was like, forget it. I'll just buy it within the 14 days. If I don't get my money's worth, I'll send it back. Right. So I get the thing, get a little game off of Apple Arcade, and been playing it ever since. Every time I get a little free time, like in the
That's
bed
what you're on.
before I go to bed, I'll put it on, sit in the bed, play it for a little bit. So that was a success. The other success I mentioned was the buffer thing. I'm very
Mhm.
appreciated about that because I'm definitely going to use that. Another gift my family got me was a turntable
Mm.
because I had mentioned, not mentioned, me and my wife went to a concert of one of my favorite artists back in October,
Mhm.
and during the meet and greet, I decided instead of buying a t-shirt, instead of just taking a picture or whatever, I'm gonna buy their vinyl because they had a vinyl available. So I went and
Mhm.
bought the vinyl, had them sign the vinyl, and I was like, again, I'll just figure the rest out later.
Mhm.
So I'll eventually get into vinyl for like
Mhm.
art. People use that as a hobby. They go get the vinyls, they get their favorite albums, whatever the case may be. I'm gonna be that guy. But right now, I just want this vinyl. So
Mhm.
for Christmas, folks, my family got me a record player, a good one, not one of these El Cheapo ones either, a real good one, right? The one the DJs used to scratch with.
And I
And
have to say, I wanna interject there,
mhm.
there may have been a little bit of a conversation between me and someone's wife around vinyl players,
Mhm.
when we were talking about Black Friday and I mentioned that I purchased one, there may have been some conversations
All
around
right. Appreciate
vinyl
it.
record players
Mhm.
and, people wanting them.
Uh.
So, yeah, may have been some
So
conversations about that.
so thank you to SnobOS for the suggestions and the extra assistance. So got that, and she also bought me a desk that it puts on that I put together. So I
Mhm.
put that together, set it up in the family room. Everything was good, right? So now it's Bluetooth, so I
Mhm,
can do with the AirPods or connect a wireless speaker.
mhm.
I really didn't like that because the sound wasn't what I
It's
was
different.
looking for
Yeah.
with the
You don't get the
headphones.
ripples and the
You don't,
kinda like
yeah,
little click
it's
in
not
the vinyl.
it's not the sound I was looking
Authentic
for.
vinyl sound. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I found and bought a Sonos speaker. It
Mm.
hadn't got here yet because I didn't want to buy it full price. So I bought it off eBay.
Mhm,
So that's going to take a couple of days to get here, you know. So I'm looking forward to getting that speaker because in addition to being Sonos, it connects to all the other Sonoses in my
mhm,
house. It's also got a 3.5 millimeter line in
mhm.
from the record player, so I can
Yep,
actually what I want, what is ultimately to get the best experience. It's got to be wired, no wireless, no Bluetooth, no
yep,
Wi-Fi, it's got no AirPlay. It's got to be
yep.
straight up plugged in
Jacked
order to
in.
get the yeah. So I'm looking forward to that to come in so I can set up the speaker and it's the perfect size for the little opening for the speaker and
Mhm,
everything, and it matches the color of it. So I'm looking
mhm.
forward to that to get that plugged in. The only other thing that I hit you up for was the VR
I think
because
I don't think you'd see it behind me, but the box is behind me.
because my daughter, my middle child, her marquee gift for Christmas was the Oculus 3S. I think that's the
Mhm,
new one that recently came out. That's kind of like the
mhm,
entry level one. They got the 3S, the 3, and then I think that's it. They had a Pro, but they discontinued that one. So we got her that, and I knew just based on our conversations over the past year, I'm like, all right, NBA basketball season is on. Um, I'm pretty sure they've got some sort of free trial or free experience. I'm like,
mhm.
Livy, get your headset. So she
Let
didn't
me
want
try
to jack. I actually had to pay her like $5
it
to get her
Way
to
to
use
go, Livy.
to,
Get your money,
you know,
baby girl.
to rent her headset. So I rented it, sold. So I am looking for a VR headset like
So I
right
have the
now.
Quest 2. I don't know if that works with what you're trying to do.
You said you had the what? I'm sorry.
I have the Quest 2.
It's the 2 and the 3 and then the Pro. So and
Oh,
then there's a
okay.
3S and the 3. So that's like the last year's model. Then they've got the 3 and they've got the 3S, which is like the entry level version, right? So
Gotcha.
yeah, I'm looking for a VR because in addition to just basketball, a lot of it is kind of lame, which is what I thought, going into the
Mhm.
different worlds or whatever. But what I want to use it for is just purely entertainment. I don't want to exercise. I don't want to talk to people. I don't want to meet new friends or
I just use it for
communities.
gaming. That's
I don't
really
even use it. I don't even want to use it for gaming. I just want to use it to watch sports because the experience was exactly what I was looking for. They put you courtside, you turn your head because you have to track them. So,
Mhm.
and you're at the same height. So it's so dope because when somebody, it's
It's
like
like
you're
you're sitting
courtside
courtside.
because when the ref come up and like have to talk over the scoring bench to do the challenges, they're right there in my face. I'm looking up at them in the VR, right?
Mhm.
When the players come off the bench to check into the game, it's like they're walking right up to me and I'm looking at them walk up and then they walk into the game, right? So it's like that sold me. And then the other thing sold me was not necessarily the apps because there's not really a lot of apps. You would think they got
At this
Roku,
point,
they got
yeah.
Netflix, they got Paramount, they got all the streaming service. They don't. But what they do have is a pretty good browser. So Friday night after a basketball game, I was like, what else can I do with this thing? So I'm goofing off with it, and they've got a built-in browser. and I go to my anime website where I watch all my anime.
Mhm.
And man, I was hooked again because it's like you
He
can
was
lay
like,
on
"This
your
is what I need in my life."
this is what I've been missing. So you can lay back. So I propped back on my couch or my chair, leaned it back, and then positioned the screen to where it's like I'm looking at the ceiling. I'm like, I don't
Mhm.
never need to buy another TV. I could just buy this because all
And
the
there
stuff
you
that I
go.
watch is on TV. You know, I can go to YouTubeTV.com and get all my regular TV. I can go to
Mhm.
anime, get my anime. I can go to sports, get my sports. Those are the three things. So it's like, so I moved some money around, sold some stocks. I'm like, I'm looking for a headset now. So I'll probably have that probably Friday because there's a Golden State Warriors game that's
Mhm.
free on Friday. Now I ain't pulled the trigger all the way to
Mhm.
get the Game Pass yet. And
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure once I get this VR and I'm starting to watch frequently, I'll end up buying
Mhm.
the Game Pass and be able to watch all the games on
All the
VR. In
games.
addition to the anime, in addition to Netflix, because I think Netflix has an app, but everything else is via the website. But like I
Mhm.
mentioned, it's such a good browser that I can go into the browser, do my little fingers, get to the website, log in. The hardest part with the VR is logging in because you gotta
Mhm.
everything is authenticated. They want to send you a text message. So I gotta log in, take the thing off, get my phone, do the
Get the
thing, put it back
authentication key, put it
on,
back on.
get
Yep.
that, take it back off to do something else.
Yep.
So finally the hardest part, the most labor intensive part of the
It's getting it set
meta
up.
is getting everything set up, logging in everything. Once you get that, I mean like hours on end of entertainment, and I had to so much so to where I had to I had to position myself a certain way so I could plug it in and watch it while it's plugged in because they
Well, it's
have a
charging.
battery. Right. They have a battery, but the battery's like one
It's
one
not great.
hour maybe, right? So
And
I'm
that
like,
was
all
the thing with the
right.
Quest 2 that I have,
Mhm.
the battery isn't great. It
Right. Yeah.
it doesn't last very long at
Yep.
all.
So I'm angling myself to get the cord just long enough. I got extension cord and a power strip, just to plug it up so I can plug it in and watch it while it's plugged up. So, all that to say, I can see the appeal of
Mhm.
VR. While it ain't there yet, you know, I can see myself getting enough of my money's worth. So I'm definitely going to spend the $300 to $500 to get one, and then that'll be my Friday and Saturday nights watching
So
basketball and watching anime.
so my question would be, if there is a cheaper Vision Pro that comes out, would you be open to getting that? Or are you like, "Nope, I want it now, so I'm gonna go ahead and go with the Quest?"
So I'm going to go with the Quest because they are like $300. It's like in the grand scheme of things, I've spent more and got less.
Mhm.
So I can stomach the $300 to $500, and then maybe if a year or so from now Apple announces the Vision, whatever, I'll switch
Mhm.
up it. I'll do what I normally do. I'll sell my MetaQuest, spend the extra money, get the Apple joint. But I
Gotcha.
can see the value enough to where I'm not gonna
Right
worry.
now.
I'm gonna have one by Friday. If you're listening to this on Friday, I'm already got it, and I'm sitting in my
Your
living
weekend
room.
is locked.
Right, right. I'm locked in. Right. So that was my holiday. For the most part, the time off was good. I was spent. So like you mentioned, you made mention to it earlier. Me and my wife normally go out for New Year's, get dressed up
Mhm.
and go out because it's also my birthday. So it's almost like a twofer, right?
Twofer.
New Year's and birthday. So we justify that to spend the extra money to get suits, to, get the
The night
tickets and make
out, the
right. And,
hotel, all that
and
stuff.
even do the hotel thing because,
Yeah.
I'd rather after a night out of fun, I'd rather just go upstairs versus getting in the car, fighting New Year's
Exactly.
traffic, whatever the case may be. So we
Yep.
go all out. We didn't do that this year. I think I was so tired from looking for my wife's car, looking for our car, getting ready for Thanksgiving and Christmas because we started this whole process around shortly after Thanksgiving.
Mhm.
Christmas, cleaning up because we do kind of the same thing. My wife cleaned up. I powered, steamed the floors, all that. Right. So by the time Christmas was over, and we could just
Just
sit down and
hammered.
chill, it's like I don't feel like getting back up.
Right.
Not getting back up and going back out to go find a suit or go find a shirt for my existing suits and go, like you mentioned, it is a
Find
crapshoot.
something to do. Oh,
Right, right. It's um like you mentioned, you never know. I don't know if it's got to be. It can't just be Atlanta. It's got to be everywhere
I think it's
because,
everywhere. It
well,
has to be.
again, pictures paint a good picture, but in reality, so I go to Eventbrite, and I do my filters New Year's Eve, whatever the case may be, and I kind of look and see what types of events are out there, and all
Mhm.
of them sell you the best night of your life. But me doing this for the past, I don't know, decade of going out New Year's, I know that's not the case.
It's
So I
not
got to do extra research to find out where's it going to be? What
the
kind of events
parking
do they
situation.
the seating situation, because I
Yeah.
don't want to be
I'm
standing
not
up
gonna be standing
all
up.
night long
Mm-mm.
for New Year's. So, a lot of these places offer VIP, they offer table service, but though they get astronomical, they go from couples only, you spend maybe $200 for the ticket,
Mm.
to a table of four, $1,000.
Yeah.
I'm like, is there
It's
something in the middle
insane.
between
No.
paying $1,000 just to sit down for a couple hours to I got to stand up and wife take her shoes off and we look like hobos tired because there's no seating because everybody wants to hog all the seats? Nah,
Yeah.
I'd rather just pay for seating, but I'm not
Yeah.
paying $1,000 just for the
Nope.
two of us. So you got to figure that out, and then the Instagram videos, again, they stay tight in those Instagram videos for a reason.
Yep.
Nobody backs out and kind of shows you the
The
whole
wide shot.
entire thing because ain't none, because there's like 20 people there. Or the
And everybody's
now
just standing and nobody's, like, dancing or doing
or
anything because that's not what we do now.
or there's no room to dance because there's lounges, tables, seating everywhere, and I want to go to a place where there's a dance floor. I want to
Yeah.
go to the dance floor and dance, get tired, don't like the
Go sit
song,
down,
come sit down, go
have
get a
a drink,
drink, go to the bathroom. Oh, my song's on, get up, go to the dance floor, dance, wash and repeat,
repeat.
right? That is not the case here in Atlanta specifically,
No.
but I think in general, like going out to have a night, it's not. And this could be back to, again, I'm being a little bit hypocritical, because when we was coming up, that's what it was. Nowadays, they got hookah, they got all the little fancy little seats, and they got music, and they got drinks, and that
And they
is
got
it.
aesthetics because that's what people are
They
there
got the
for.
green, they got the green wall where you take the
The
picture.
flower wall, yep.
They got the neon sign with the hashtag, and then that's it,
Instagram
right?
ready.
But again, that ain't my cup of tea. So it's like, instead of like fighting it, instead of like arguing and complaining, I'll just sit this one out. And then maybe next year, start a little bit earlier for the New Year's Eve planning and make sure that reconnaissance, do some
Mhm.
reconnaissance and excuse me, do some reconnaissance and find out what type of event it's going to be, where the event is, what kind of layout do they. Now I know they change things for different events,
Yeah.
but for the most part, what you see is what you get, right? And then
And
they
at
just
this
fill it.
point, I'm just, like, down for a house party. Who's gonna
Yeah.
host it? Every year, maybe we change, go to a different house
Right,
because
right.
going out with that craziness is just, like,
And
it's just not worth it.
I've considered that. The only drawback I can think to doing a house party for like something is not as big, but something for a special event like New Year's,
Mhm.
is I feel like if I had something at my house, people wouldn't put in the effort to have it be like a event that you
Going
would
out kinda
get
thing.
dressed up and going
Yeah.
out. People would come in like what we have on right now,
Yeah.
but I'm like, I want to get in a tuxedo. I
Yeah.
want my wife to dress in the evening gown or whatever the thing that I know
Yeah.
there's a name for it, but there's whatever.
Yeah.
And then the drinks, I don't want, I'd rather have somebody, maybe even hire somebody, I don't know, maybe
Yeah.
catered, and then
Yeah.
have somebody making the drinks, because what I don't want is me and my wife having to do a lot of
Having to
prep.
do work. You want to party.
I want to get up, get in my car, get dressed, get in my car, go to the party, leave the party, and then come home and get into bed. If you're doing it at your house, you got to set everything up and you got to break everything down. I don't know if I want to do that for
Yeah.
people who are just coming out and just not really dance. The house parties is hard to get people to dance,
Yeah.
unless you got a DJ, right?
Yeah.
So I might as well, I'm throwing a for real party versus just having an event at my house. Now, unless everybody in the group says, all right, here's what we're doing. This, that, and the third, this is what to expect, yada, yada, yada. Then I maybe do that. But I know I'm going to get at least that if I go out. So that's the only thing I've been back and forth about. Is it really
Mm.
going to be a New Year's Eve party the way I envision it? Or am I just inviting some people to the
Just get
crib?
together.
Yeah.
I
All
feel you.
right.
It's one of those
Yeah.
things that it's weird because it's like you
Yeah.
want the comfort of not having to deal with all the other stuff, but you also want,
To deal with
an
it a little
event.
bit.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's all that's going on with me in a nutshell. Again, it was my birthday. So we hung out, got some, did our traditional, birthday tacos and, did our regular, went ice skating. That's one thing that is tradition that we do after Christmas is we all go out
Mhm.
ice skating as a family. So we did that. They just hung out. So, all right. So we went a little bit longer and I kind of did that on purpose. I had some other stuff that I wanted to talk about, but we'll just end it there. So I definitely
Okay.
wanted to get caught up and then kind of talk about what stuff happened over the holidays. So that's going to do it for this episode. We're going to jump right into the live show with what we
Yep.
do. Speaking of traditions, we're going to do our predictions. This is our predictions show. So hold on for a couple of seconds and we're going to jump right into the live show that airs on Friday.